Hey guys, Matt here, and today we are going to do a quick little tech talk or tech demonstration on saving old paint or removing spray paint or primer that's been put over old paint that you want to save. So with antique and classic cars, there has been a shift over the years where original paint or survivor cars, or even the word that some people love to hate, patina, has become a thing that is very coveted with a lot of these old cars, especially these old hot rods and antique cars. It is a big deal to have a car that has original paint or old paint that has been saved and to drive the car as a survivor type car. So in this case, I have a 1932 Ford that I've been working on, and I've actually been working on bringing back the old Ford Grove Green, which is a 50s color that was put on the car when it was built in the late 50s, early 60s, and at some point later in its life it was like primered black over the whole entire thing, and we're trying to bring some of that green paint back. So I wanted to show you guys the technique that I've been using that works pretty well in this situation. As always, there's going to be different techniques and different things will work for you, but I'll show you what works for me on this particular project. Alright, so there's pretty much only a couple main ingredients for trying to save this old paint. So this car is a little deceiving. It's probably not the best one, but it's what I'm working on right now for demonstration. But this car was painted black, has red oxide primer, then black, then this Grove Green, then it was painted black over top of that. So it's a little deceiving because you will be seeing some areas where there's black that is actually the original paint where the green is kind of worn off. But this little area here is a good example of a spot that still has some primer on it, and the process for doing this is fairly simple. So the idea is that a lot of these primers and old paints, or even just cheap spray paints, they will come off with just either a heavy cleaner, like a brake clean or an acetone or something, which can sometimes be too aggressive, or what I like to use is Eastwood Pre. So Pre has some acetone in it and some other ingredients that will actually soften some of this old paint, but won't be so aggressive that it'll just break through and just wipe everything off in one shot. We want to kind of slowly go through here and kind of melt this off. So what I like to do is take some 4-0 steel wool. This is the same stuff you would use on glass and all kinds of different things. So it is abrasive, but it's not going to be so abrasive it's just going to take it off, everything off right away. So I spray a little bit of Pre on there, and what I do is kind of work in this area, and you don't have to push real hard, but as you sand, you'll start to see that the Pre will start to dissolve the old black paint, or the old primer that was put over the green. And before it starts to like flash off and dry, we need to take a rag and wipe that off. So the key is kind of to keep the Pre wet on there, but you don't want to soak the whole panel because you could soak through and actually take all the old lacquer paint off in this case. So what I'm doing is just working around the edges. Like I said, you'll start to see the black. It kind of turn black when it's dissolving the black paint here. And then we'll take a rag, wipe it off, and we're getting, that little area there. We just took a lot of the black off, and it's working out pretty well. So that's what I've been doing for the whole car. So what will happen with the Pre then is the Pre is going, after you scrub it and you use either the steel wool, or sometimes if I have like really thick area, I will use a used up like this that's kind of not as abrasive green scuff pad. You can use a gray scuff pad. It's a little more fine. That will work pretty well to cut through, but you have to be a little more careful. Again, you can burn all the way through the paint. So I use one of the two of those. Once I get it off and wipe down, it's going to leave kind of like a chalky appearance to it. It's not going to be bright. And what that is, you end up getting just kind of like just dried Pre and some of the old paint and stuff and contaminants that are still left on the top. So what I like to use then is I take some oil eater. And this stuff is a very good degreaser and cleaner, but it's not abrasive that it's going to take the paint off. And what I will do is just take that on a separate rag, and you can either put it in a spray bottle or do one of these where you get your rag a little wet, and then I will wipe this area, and you can see all the dirt that's coming off as I'm wiping that. It's kind of like brown stuff that's coming off. And then I take a junky microfiber. This is one you will not ever use again on a nice car. And we'll rub the area clean with that. And that's how you can clean it off and kind of get it to shine a little bit. Now again, this car is pretty, has some pretty good age to it. Depending on the car, you can, work a little better. But this is the process I've been using on this car along the way. Alright, so after a bunch of work, I was able to go over this whole car and pretty much bring out a lot of the old green paint, and using basically the method we just showed you. So you may be able to use this if you have a project, say a car that had beautiful original paint and somebody laid some like spray bomb primer over it. This process works really, really well for doing that. And you can basically follow these steps and delicately take some old paint off. This was an extreme case, and we're saving a car that sat outside for 50 years or so. So it's not going to turn out as good as some other jobs, but it shows you what you can achieve with just a couple of Eastwood products and a little bit of elbow grease. You can get something that turns out pretty darn cool. If you want to learn more about the products that you saw in this video, you can click the link down below, or you can visit eastwood.com to get all the tools you need to do the job right. Thanks guys, catch you later.